Russia is ramping up its attacks on eastern Ukraine. Missiles hit at least 5 train stations as Moscow attempts to cut supply lines. And now Russia's foreign minister is warning of a potential nuclear conflict. Charlie D'Agata is in Dnipro, Ukraine, with more on Russia's latest onslaught and how some Ukrainians are escaping the fighting. Charlie, good morning.
Good morning to you, Vlad. The Russian military says it struck 90 targets overnight and killed 500 Ukrainian soldiers, destroyed dozens of vehicles. We can't independently verify that, but it's clear that fighting has intensified all along the front line.
There's been no rest for the firefighters of Kharkiv. Ukraine's second largest city has been among the hardest hit in the past 24 hours of Russian bombardment. A shell-shocked and bewildered 94-year-old woman asks whether the war is over. It's the latest onslaught from a Russian advance stretching along a 300-mile front line in the east. Some of those who managed to escape the fighting head here to a shopping center in Zaporizhzhia.
It's the reality of a country at war that you can buy fabric softener in one aisle, have a refugee tent in the parking lot, and a cafe that's been turned into a first aid center.
Fedor Zubkov says he lost his wife in Russian shelling and is now struggling to cope mentally. We started dating when we were 15 years old, he said. She was my first love. At a nearby military hospital, we find Nazik Nativ. After stepping forward to fight when the war broke out, the 27-year-old radio host from Lviv found himself right in the middle of the most brutal frontline fighting in the Donbass region. An artillery round on Saturday tore through both legs and his arm.
Did you think maybe you weren't going to survive?
I thought I lost my leg and wouldn't be able to play soccer, he said. First thing I asked was whether I could play soccer and fight again.
You want to fight again?
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Of course, because it's my land. It's my country. It's my motherland.
Now, we asked whether he told his mother how badly wounded he was. He said not yet. He didn't want to worry her. And he said she's the type of person who would travel more than 600 miles from Lviv to the front line to come see him. Anne-Marie and Vlad?
Oh, I can understand a mother's love. I can understand, but he should tell his mother. Let me ask you more about what's happening in that mall. And I think that it's always sort of stunning to me that you have this, brutal war that's raging. And, next to that, you have a shopping mall with a fully stocked aisles and all that sort of stuff. Tell me how people are coping. That man who lost his wife, he's going to need a little more than just, a place to lay his head.
Yeah, it's surreal. I mean, it's encouraging and it lifts the human spirit to see all of those volunteers helping the people who are coming from these terrible, terrible areas. Now, Zaporizhzhia is the last large city that's held by Ukrainian forces and the Ukrainian government. And where they can, they've tried to return things back to normal. I mean, that shopping mall, that center was open, so you could go in there and buy groceries. Here in Dnipro, there's plenty of food, there's plenty of supplies, all kinds of those things. However, it is a clearing point for these refugees. So they had the the tent sitting outside there, and they had converted that cafe to a sort of triage, a first aid center. And they had been getting, in the beginning, they were getting hundreds and thousands of people, specifically from Mariupol, who were trying to flood into Zaporizhzhia, because we've seen what's happened there in the past 6 or 8 weeks. The past few days, it's gone down to a trickle, but the people that they're receiving there, they describe them as broken. I mean, they can't even speak. All they want is something to drink, even bread, something simple, and they want to have a place to stay. And as you saw from that gentleman that we were speaking to, he's only 36 years old. That man who lost his wife is 36.
Wow.
You saw what kind of condition he was in. He said he's lost all kinds of weight. He said he was tortured by Russian-backed separatists. I asked him if he was getting psychological help. He said not enough. He wants to get a job. He was penniless. He was asking for money. I mean, it's really, really sad. And then this young family, it's a woman with 3 children. They had come from Melitopol, and I asked where they were going to go. They said, actually, we're going to be staying with the family. And that's what's happening in Zaporizhzhia and here in Dnipro. People are literally opening their homes. It may be for them to stay here for a short time and maybe move to places like Lviv or even leave the country, but they can't return home. Everywhere else, they're opening the doors. But it is a surreal situation. It's a beautiful day here in Ukraine. People are walking along the streets of the boulevard. There are cars driving up and down. And yes, there are sort of military fortresses along the streets. Everybody's concerned. You know, we are in a conflict zone. There have been airstrikes here, have been airstrikes in Zaporizhzhia. You've seen what's happening along the east and in the south. So the air raid sirens have been ringing all day here, but nobody's running to shelters. It has become a strange normal for them.
You know, I'm glad you told us his age, because I really thought he was a much older man. And it's just a reminder that, you know, the scars of war, you know, they're not always obvious and physical. They're not always bandaged up.
Yeah, that's for sure. Charlie, let me ask you about this interview that Russia's foreign minister gave to Russian TV yesterday, where he said Ukraine is risking starting World War III. It was sort of blaming the Ukrainians when, in fact,
NATO.
And NATO, when in fact, of course, as the world knows, it is Russia that invaded Ukraine. What more are you hearing about that?
Well, you know, here in Ukraine, the foreign minister here said, look, this is just Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, hyping it up. He's trying to make things seem more than it is, because he's sending a warning out to the United States specifically, but also NATO in general, trying to scare them off supporting the Ukrainian military and the Ukrainian government, kind of saying that they would be in their firing lines. Where he has stepped it up, and these are the words that he used, he said the risks are very significant when he was asked about whether this is going to progress to a nuclear threat. The risks are very significant. I don't want to be in danger of artificially inflating the risks, but he is. But it is serious, and it cannot be overestimated. And the reason, he says, is because he believes that the United States and NATO are involved in a proxy war. It is no longer sort of training and supporting the Ukrainian military with small arms or the kind of anti-tank weapons that have been used to great effect, especially around Kyiv, in pushing back the Russian forces. Now you're talking about long-range artillery and other more significant equipment and NATO-capable equipment. That's a very specific term, NATO-capable equipment that has been coming in. And Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister, said this makes any of those rat runs where this equipment is coming in legitimate targets. If they can see where it's coming in from, who's supplying it, where it's being stored, they're going to hit those storage areas. So really, it's just upping the tempo. It's language that we might expect from Sergei Lavrov. He's known to push that, and of course he's speaking on behalf of President Putin. It's a warning to NATO partners, hey, you better pull back on this, because as far as we're seeing it, NATO and the United States specifically are conducting a proxy war against Russian forces in Ukraine, and that's what the warning was about.
All right, Charlie Daggett for us on the ground in Ukraine, where he has been for since the start of the war, essentially. Charlie, thank you very much.